Welcome to Lock and Load Podcast. My name is Josh. I'm the owner of Lock and Load Firearms.
And I'm Michelle, the owner of Patriot Wear Holsters.
And we're here to discuss Connecticut 2A issues. So this is our third podcast now, episode 3. And we're going to continue on discussing many topics today. It looks like we have 9 of them, ending with the CCDL Open Carry Rally on the 30th. But beginning with the Connecticut 2023 assault weapon registration and fingerprints. So we've had some questions on this. So how do people do their fingerprints on that? What is it? 41410? 414C.
414C. Yes. So we had a couple people asking because the fingerprint part was a little confusing when we first talked about it. We weren't sure how to go about that. Now that most places are doing electronic fingerprints, it's very hard to, how are you going to put it on a piece of paper? So I made a couple of phone calls. I actually talked to SLFU and I asked, can an individual take a print of ink pad and just do their own and put it on the thumbprint part?
Yep.
So that then they can scan that whole form, send it back up, which is what they're asking. They want it electronic. They don't want it mailed. They highly suggest.
Yeah, sending it electronically.
Yes, which is better, to be totally honest with everybody. It will go right into this system a lot easier than having somebody have to input the information. And the answer I got back is yes, that will be fine. Anyone can just take an ink pad, do your own fingerprints. You're good to go. There may be some places that will do it for you. It also needs to be notarized. So everybody needs to keep that in mind. You need to find somebody that can notarize. I know that there's certain people that are notaries in the gun world that are doing the notary no charge.
I am planning on getting my notary. That was on my to-do list.
There you go.
We got to speed that up now.
It's always been on my list too. And I was thinking the same thing. Oh. So that's pretty much, that answers hopefully that question that came through on the Facebook page for our podcast. Somebody had asked that. And that should give the answer everybody needs. If you don't have the ability to scan your paper back in, again, talk to a friend, or it can be mailed up if you have to. But they are strongly urging people to use the electronic modes to do so.
And we have until May?
One date was May 1st, one date was April 30th. So I'm kind of thinking April 30th.
April 30th sounds good.
Right. And
of 2024. So we have time, guys. This
Correct.
Isn't needs to get done by, next week. This is you got what, 8 months to do so?
True. But you do want to get it done sooner than later because otherwise, like we've talked about with permits and stuff like that, they're always behind by a couple of months. I shouldn't say always, but mostly.
There.
So the sooner you get done and you get it up there, you may not go over that deadline while it's pending. Not that it won't count, but you'll be in that kind of hover zone.
Yeah, peace of mind is always good.
Correct.
All right. So if my voice sounds horrible, guys, sorry about that. I was at a rock concert on Saturday. So we're just not 100% right now. But we're going to continue on. Hopefully I don't sound absolutely horrible. So topic number 2 is actually registering. That's great.
That's a good word.
Our 2023 assault weapons. So I would say but more Michelle has some pretty interesting information on this. She's done some really good research for you guys. So you definitely want to pay attention to this part.
Yes. So again, we had questions on the podcast Facebook page. And when we had first brought this up to everybody, we did kind of do an overview because we weren't real sure how they were doing this. So I've been going back and forth with SLFU on this. And this actually has some very good news involved in it. So I'm going to break it down a little bit. First off, as of June, all AR platform firearms have been banned. Okay. Pistols, others, and rifles are now banned in Connecticut. So those are semi-automatics. We're not talking about bolt action and that kind of thing that are still legal, but your typical AR type platforms.
Including pre-bans.
Correct. So all those have been banned as of June. Now let's break it down a little bit more. Many of us bought lowers, and we have a strip lower sitting in our safe.
Many.
Okay.
So many people.
Yes.
So many
and
people.
Many bought multiples.
Yes.
Okay. So things have changed up at SLFU, and I'm not going to say that they're not going to change. Okay. Because as they find things didn't work out the way, or our legislators find out things didn't work the way they wanted, sometimes they tweak the policy, and sometimes they go back in the next legislative session and try to change that. So
will they be able to, though? So my question with that is, this next session is supposed to be just a financial one, right? Every other year they're supposed to do a financial, and then they have like a law one. And I know the original like ban of others came up last year when it was supposed to just be a fiscal one. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm sure they could twist things.
Every year there are at least 2,000 gun bills that are proposed. Okay.
That's a lot.
Every single, yes. Now that breaks down once it hits committees, and then you end up with anywhere from one or two up to several. And then however that phases its way out, passes the committee, and gets onto the floor for a vote. So there's many stages to this. You have your proposal stage, you have your committee stage, and then you have your voting of the whole entire body. So I wouldn't bank on there not being anything that they're going to try to do. But as far as this goes, I don't know how they would fix any of this, because it's already gone into place. And they already
jammed through a fix-it bill on this.
Correct. And it's not like you can continue to buy anymore. So
Correct.
I think it's going to be, they're going to kind of have to sit and stew on what they've already done, but policies can change.
Yep.
So, and policies can be changed depending on interpretation. I mean, look what the ATF is doing right now.
Yeah.
So, and in Connecticut, we not only have our Connecticut lovelies that are doing this to us, but we also have federal law that we have to work into compliance, as law-abiding citizens. So even if Connecticut says, okay, XYZ, you have to also make sure you're on the federal level, okay, which is what I'm going to get into a little bit. I'm going to scan through it a little bit. We've also put up the bills on the link tree. Yep. This is information for you guys. Number one, we're not lawyers. Okay.
You're not attorneys.
No.
This is not legal advice.
No. This is information and interpretation given to you through the questions being asked directly to SLFU, sometimes through lawyers, sometimes through legislators, but the body making the laws and what we're being told is okay. So we're not misleading anybody in the wrong way, but keep in mind, we're also, like he said, we're not lawyers either. But from what I'm getting, say you have one of these strip lowers, you can now make that, if you register your strip lower, you can make that lower into anything you want, because it's now going to be on an assault weapon registration. So technically you could make it into another, you could make it into a rifle, you could make it into a pistol, you could make it into a short barreled rifle. However, make sure this is where it comes in with the federal guidelines. If you're going to do anything that needs a Form 4 or Form 1, because you already own the lower,
Form 1.
You have to do your Form 1 prior to building it. Let them know what you want to do with it. They approve your tax stamp, and then you can build. But
free tax stamps are gone.
Yes. This is a $200 tax stamp that you need to do from here on out. If you build something and say, well, I thought I could, and then somehow you get jammed up with it, that's never an excuse. So this is where it comes back to do your research on what's legal in Connecticut, but also follow the ATF and federal guidelines on what you're building. Okay. So that goes for lowers. If you have an other that you have already formed one, okay, we're going to start there. So you already sent your free Form 1 in because of the ATF brace rule. you can now build that into a straight short barrel rifle, no problem.
So no brace, no vertical foregrip, if you have the assault weapon certificate from the state.
Yes, and your
and your Form 1 from the ATF.
Correct. Because you can't have a short barrel rifle without a Form 1.
So this is what a lot of people were saying when this bill came out, is like, you can't make something more assaulty, right?
Yes.
Once it's an assault weapon, it's an assault weapon, right?
There is no such thing as an assault weapon. Let's just put that out there. But
we understand that.
Yes.
They don't. But so certain stores were saying one thing, certain stores were saying another thing. I was erring on the side of caution, being like, I don't really know.
I did too.
And waiting for the state to tell us things.
I truly didn't think that the state would open up something that they had already banned.
Yeah.
This is a shock. Yes. I have been following 2A legislature for many, many years now. And I think there's going to be some legislators that are going to be like in awe of what they've just done here. But it is what it is.
Yep.
Like I said, policies can change, but it is what it is. You can also turn your other into a full rifle. Okay. By just putting a longer barrel on it.
Yeah. Rifle definition is 16 inches or greater.
Correct.
Short barrel rifle definition is anything under that with a stock/brace.
Correct.
And then a pistol, because you can still build those, are without braces.
However, if you already have an other or you have a pre-ban, you can't make that a pistol.
Correct.
So the way the lowers work is a virgin lower, meaning it's never been built into anything, can now be built into any one of those categories. Then it moves. So an other, if you have a pistol, it can then become an other. It can become a rifle. If you have an other, it could only become a rifle. And if you have a rifle, it's a rifle. So
weird.
Again, ATF federal guidelines.
Stuff.
That's why everybody has to pay attention to not only Connecticut, what Connecticut says,
but ATF
and what the federal laws are. Those are easy enough to Google, easy enough to look up. You can always ask the questions. If we can answer the questions, we will. If we can't, we might be able to steer you someplace that can.
Yep.
Or maybe we get somebody on the podcast that, if we have enough questions, that speaks directly to that stuff. I don't know. We can see who we can get.
So we're working on guests for the podcast. We think we've gotten some pretty good reception back on this. Share the podcast, guys.
Yes.
More views we get, the bigger we get, and the more people we can get onto the podcast. I actually have a list on my phone of people to contact. Once we get the ground below our feet here, I think we'll be able to do that. And I'm hoping we'll be able to do that.
Absolutely.
So.
And then the last part is the pre-bans for the assault weapon. So a pre-ban rifle is a pre-ban rifle, guys. It doesn't get more assaulty than that in this state. So that's where we can work with, and that's what we can do. As far as if you have a pre-ban, a lot of people had bought the pre-ban pistols. They had bought, even, and I'm not sure, I don't think this falls for pistols, right? It's like regular semi-automatic handguns, AR platform. Yes. Yeah. But regular, no, right? Because we haven't been able to have
I don't believe so, but somebody has said that you can't have threaded barrels on the pre-ban pistols anymore. So I don't know. But in the bill, it says everything except pistols, rifles, shotguns, revolvers. So again, that's some misconception in the bill here, or some misinterpretation.
If anybody needs clarification, we can always look that up. Anyway, because I own a few.
Yeah, you and your SIGs.
My SIGs.
Yeah, she likes those pre-ban SIGs.
So I may be doing some research there anyway. So that pretty much covers your registration. We went over the fingerprints and what you have to do. Last time we talked about the forms you need. Also, when you do for your registration, if you do your registration, you're going to set up an account. We talked about that. It gives you a list of all your firearms. I will tell you, out of the people that have set up accounts so far,
errors. So many errors.
Oh,
I was just contacted today from the SLFU. Actually, I did the DPS 3C form correctly from a form in 2021 in taking a gun, and they thought it was outgoing.
Yes, that's happened to me. I've had to fix 4 of them so far in the last 3 weeks.
I got
So
one today.
somebody found a box
Yeah.
and they're going through it. But
Yep.
that was when they were
Nice lady who called me.
they're good people. Yeah. They're really good people. Like we've said before, the department at SLFU is great. It's who dictates
It's your elected officials.
Yes. And how they budget and all that kind of stuff. That's what causes the problems. They're, for the most part, the majority of people there are fantastic. But there are some problems with DP3s, which is why they're also trying to go to the electronic, because they're not losing things.
Yeah.
They're automatically in.
Yep.
I mean, I have firearms on my list that literally I have sold over 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. I have to go look at mine.
It's a mess. And I'm going to have to sit down and go through everything and bring in my list of what I have, all my DP3s. Yeah. This is why state says keep them. And I tell people to keep them all the time, because it does come in handy.
Put them in a folder, throw it in your safe.
Yep. And I have where I staple it. If I bought the gun and then I sell the gun, which doesn't happen often, I do staple those two together so that those two guns are always, my in and my out are always together.
Gotcha.
That's what I do.
So I think the gist of this was you can kind of like recap that. You can now register your others, your virgin lowers,
your
pre-bans as assault weapons, and you can configure them into any legal configuration per the ATF in their category. So a long gun must stay a long gun. A virgin lower can be anything, even with a stock, without a vertical foregrip, according to the SLFU. Now, again, we are not lawyers. We are not attorneys. This is what we have been told. So this is the information we're passing along to you.
And if you're making off of a virgin lower, keep in mind, if you are making anything that needs a tax stamp, it has to be done prior to being built.
Correct. That's an electronic Form 1 on the ATF's website, on their eForms website.
Correct. Unlike what we just did with the brace rule, that was an exception that they let everybody do after the fact that it was built. Now it goes back to the normal rules where you have to do it and ask permission.
Yep. And pay $200 to the ATF.
Yes, pay for your permission.
Yes, pay for your rights. All right, if you guys have questions on that, comment below on any platform you're watching this on. This will go on Facebook, YouTube. It also goes on Spotify and Amazon Music. I'm working on Apple Music, haven't gotten that far yet, but we're on 4 platforms. We also have our own Instagram too, and we have our TikTok. So there's that as well, where we throw up clips and everything. We're going to throw up clips prior to this being released. We're going to try to shoot for this Friday. Yes. And then throw clips before that to give a little boost to it. Moving on.
By we, he means him, because he's the one that does all that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got to use that computer programming degree for something.
Better you than me. We'd be in trouble.
Yeah. A little stick figure with like a little hit going, hi, guys. All right. We wanted to clarify one thing from the last podcast, which was the 3 handguns a month. It's actually 3 handguns in a 30-day period, which the state still has no way of tracking. That was my little adding part there.
Correct.
There is no way for them to currently track that.
I've been told they are working on it.
They're working on it.
So it's coming. Don't think it's a golden pass.
Yeah, I don't know from a software standpoint how they can do that. It's going to be really difficult from a coding aspect.
Over my head, I don't know.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. Body armor?
Yes.
Did we talk about that last time?
No, we did not.
Okay, we're talking about body armor now, guys. I don't know how many this is going to affect, but basically you just have to have a valid pistol permit to purchase body armor.
And you have to purchase it in person. Now,
well, it always had to be a face-to-face.
Correct. Prior to this, it was a face-to-face, but you didn't need a permit.
Yep.
Now you need a permit. Now that doesn't mean a pistol permit. You could have an eligibility certificate. Okay. You can have a long gun certificate or a regular pistol permit, but you have to have one of those Connecticut permits to be able to get body armor.
That was always my store policy.
Okay.
My logic behind it was somebody ran a background check on you at some point.
That's true.
So it was kind of a CYA.
That is true.
But now it is state law. So there's that. Pistol permit course expansion. We still have no clarification on that or curriculum about that. And that goes into effect October 1st as well. No?
That went into effect in July. Right
What?
here. Hold on, I'll
No.
tell you. Yes.
Everyone's been saying October 1st.
No. Hold on. Pistol course requirement. Oh, okay, you're right.
Okay.
My bad.
So October 1st. I wish you could just like delete that, but you're going to see all that, guys. So this goes into effect October 1st. I know the new training requirements say we have to teach gun laws, which the NRA curriculum expressly forbids instructors teaching gun laws. USCCA curriculum does not. It allows me to teach gun laws. That's what we actually teach in our pistol permit classes because it's part of the USCCA curriculum. We still have no clarification from the state, and we are filming this on September 19th.
Yeah.
We're T-minus 2 weeks, 2 weekends.
We won't have it by October 1st. I guarantee you.
So what happens after that? We don't know.
I have no idea. As an instructor, I'll tell you, I will do the best that I can.
Yeah.
But, because they can't say that I'm negligent. My intent is there to do the right thing, but I'm going to keep asking. Somebody might hear me eventually.
So I've noticed that some stores, I will not name names, and other instructors keep saying October 1st, prices are going up. Classes are going to be more expensive. They're going to be more in depth. Get your pistol permit now. Well, get your pistol permit now.
Absolutely.
We do classes all the time here, guys, if you don't know that. So we're going to throw that little plug in there. Lockandloadct.com and Connecticut pistol permit classes. But I got to throw plugs in when I can, right?
Absolutely.
I do it in my pistol permit class to sell merch.
Absolutely.
But I don't expect my class fee to go up.
It can't because they didn't pass it. It wasn't in the bill.
Well, class fee, like what I charge for my time. Right.
Okay.
So this shouldn't take any more time. If you read the law, it says 4-hour curriculum, 2-hour gun law, and 2 hours of live fire, which is still an 8-hour class.
Right.
Which is what instructors should be doing.
Well, NRA is different. NRA says much longer for class.
Yeah.
And if they explicitly say no legal, then you're tacking that on, because basically I've been told either you have to start the class, but not say we're not doing the NRA curriculum. So you're throwing your own stuff, or you do it after class. So that might add a little bit of time. But to be totally honest, I have always kind of I've done the curriculum, but then there's been stuff
answered
outside.
Students' questions.
Correct. There's always been
to
stuff
the best
outside.
Of our ability, not being attorneys.
Correct. Because I'm not.
Nope. But if somebody asks me a question, I'm going to try to give them the best answer that I can.
Well, and we do the research. I mean, and that's part of it. And I said this in the past one, is it's doing the research. All right. All the information that I have come up with, for the most part, anybody out there who is carrying or owns firearms in Connecticut can find that information. Are there a couple other phone calls that I have through connections? Possibly. But that doesn't change the majority of the information that we have. We just have to put the time in. Being an uninformed gun owner is
negligence.
It's not a good idea. It's not responsible. And, like I said before, we have to know the laws. All right. What you choose to do with those are your choice, because this is a free country, last I heard. But if you break the law, you have to know the consequences, and whether it's intentional or not, you have to know so that you know what the consequences would be and what penalty you'll pay.
Yeah, precisely. All right. Next topic is carrying a long gun and other is now prohibited
in a vehicle.
In a vehicle or snowmobile. That was very specific.
Yes, which was
I don't know how many snowmobile crimes are being committed.
Or how many people carry an other on their snowmobile?
It had to be more than one.
If it's you,
it had to be at least one.
If it's one of you guys, please leave me a message. I want to know.
I want to see a TikTok of this. I need an Instagram reel.
Well, they can't do it anymore.
Prior, I'm sure you got that in Snapchat history, right, guys? Basically,
what they're saying is you can transport if it's locked up and unloaded, and the normal storage in a vehicle. But there are some people that had a car gun.
Yep.
Okay. And I know several, and it was an other most of the time in this state. They either had a full AR if it was a pre-ban, or they had an other, but this is what Connecticut's doing to tap down on that. You no longer can have one at the ready in your vehicle.
All right. So large capacity magazines are now a Class A misdemeanor? Is that
Correct.
what that says?
Yes.
I thought they were going up to felony status.
No.
Okay.
I can read it exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is it? I just need to. Oh, here it is.
Here it is, guys.
Here it is. All right. So
little cheat sheets.
effective 10/1/2023, it is now a Class A misdemeanor for eligible persons to purchase a firearm to possess an unregistered LCM.
Large capacity magazine.
Yes. It is still a Class D felony for those who are not eligible to purchase.
Okay, so I was right, but I'm really confused at what that first sentence said.
Yeah, it's a Class A for eligible persons to purchase. Oh, no, an unregistered. Oh, so I guess if they have a register, if they registered their large capacities, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But if, no, I don't know.
We're going to get back to you on that in episode 4.
Yeah.
Just circle it and we'll get back to it, guys.
Yeah. Because this doesn't make any sense the way it's written. So I'm going to look into that one.
All right.
Stay tuned.
We're not perfect. Trigger locks are now required to go on all firearms sold at retail, not just pistols. So I've been doing that for rifles and shotguns because most of them do, but it is now legally required by the state of Connecticut. Pistols have been required by the federal government for, I don't know since when, a long time, we'll say. But now all firearms must be sold with a locking device. Now, whether that is probably a cable lock or some sort of trigger lock, whatever the manufacturer puts in the box or the retailer puts in on a used gun or something, or maybe a manufactured gun, like a fixed mag or something that doesn't come from a manufacturer or something like that, though.
I think that's where you get messed up the most, or where retailers would have, is the used gun, because 9 times out of 10, we don't get the lock back. People go home and they
throw it
lock
away.
Yeah. They get rid of the lock. So I think this is where it's the biggest change on a retail side, because most new guns, even long guns, come with a lock.
Yeah.
But now everything across the board, new, used, purple, pink, it doesn't matter. You have to have a lock.
All right. And the last thing, we got about 2-3 minutes left, is the CCDL Open Carry Rally at the Capitol on the 30th?
Yes. September 30th.
September 30th.
Yes. Saturday.
So, 2 Saturdays from now. And if you go to ccdl.us and then scroll down a little bit, you can find out all the information, but I have some of it to read here. So this is a family-friendly event. Please dress appropriately considering our ever-changing New England weather. They had a specific shirt that was for sale. It is no longer for sale. The We'll Carry On shirt.
I thought, okay.
That ended on 9/8. But CCDL merch is always available on their website as well, at ccdl.us. It's going to start promptly at 11 a.m. Parking is available all downtown via garage lots, street parking, budget extra arrival time for parking.
Yes.
All lawful forms of carry are permitted at this event on the Capitol grounds. Be mindful of the following. Do not enter Bushnell Park. Firearms are prohibited on those grounds and property adjacent. Watch your step. There will be Capitol Police there, as well as probably Hartford Police and maybe troopers. Who knows?
Well, because when you park, most of the time you have to walk through Bushnell Park to get up there, or you have to walk across the streets. It's quicker to go through. That's why they say if you're carrying, make sure you're walking all the way around Bushnell. As far as the Capitol Police go, I got to tell you, they are some of the best guys out there. So please be respectful to them. They're doing
their job, guys.
They are, and they're very welcoming when we go up and fight for our rights. They're great guys up there.
Do not carry any firearms that you're not supposed to. Illegal activity is a poor reflection on law-abiding gun ownership. Do not unholster your firearm on the Capitol grounds. They did add this in there. Do not carry newly minted assault weapons as defined by the Connecticut state statutes. So do they mean others? That is the specific sentence right there. Do not carry newly minted assault weapons as defined by Connecticut state statutes.
I don't know, unless they're trying to not have people show up in full kit.
Don't know. Be courteous with your conduct with the public and the media. Your actions reflect our organization, and the opposition wants you to be seen as the worst of us.
And they're watching. The other side is watching.
Oh, yeah.
When we misstep, they make it huge.
Capitol Police will be there present to handle any unsafe situations and protesters. They are to be treated as professionals, aiding us in the execution of this event. Given the volume of attendance, please keep your children close to you. And then there's some more stuff about the whole rallying aspect. I know there will be guest speakers at this rally. One of them, at least in theory / confirmation, or two of them. One of them is going to be Eddie Grant. That is the Grant versus Lamont. At least that's what I've heard.
He's great.
Yeah. So if you've never talked to Eddie Grant, talk to Eddie Grant. That is what I have to say about that.
No, absolutely.
Eddie's a great guy.
He's fantastic.
I would assume that somebody from the CT Open Carry group will be talking as well, from their group on Facebook. And then we'll probably see some politicians there as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see like Rob Sampson there, a huge 2A supporter, and fighting for our rights.
That'd be great.
But I do think Eddie's the only semi-confirmed one. We're still waiting to hear more, but that's the information we got on it right now.
And it truly is family friendly, guys. I have been to several CCDL rallies up at the Capitol, starting when my daughter, she was probably 7 or 8, and she brought her little sign and she held her sign. That was Sandy Hook. But there's always dogs, there's always kids, but not in a bad way. You don't have dogs just running free. Everybody's very respectful. It's a great family event if you want to do something like this. I loved it. It brought my daughter up, showing that we were fighting for our rights. And, today she's got her long gun permit because she's only 19 and she's very, very much on board. But I think, it is a good event. So if you have the time, show up. It's time to start showing up to these things.
I will be there. I don't know who else will be there. But if anyone else from Lock and Load will be there, but I will be there on the 30th. I did not schedule a class that day, so I could go and attend.
I have an event, so I have
You'll be there in spirit. We'll FaceTime.
I will. I have a vendor table I have to go do, but I will definitely be there in spirit.
All right. I think that is all we have for today, guys. Thank you for joining us at the Lock and Load podcast. Make sure you follow us on our various social medias: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon Music to hear this. My name is Josh. I own Lock and Load Firearms.
And I'm Michelle from Patriot Wear Holsters.
And we will see you guys next episode.
Thanks, guys.